On the first day of attending Central High, the guards pushed the Little Rock Nine out of the way so the whites could go through. Ernest Green stated in one of his interviews, "It felt like rejection that I have never experienced like that." Elizabeth Eckford went through the most hate from the mob while walking to school and back to her house. The president at the time sent U.S. troops to escort the Little Rock Nine to the school. Most white students tried to imitate them and irritate them as much as they could. The Little Rock also got threats. They realized that they had to support each other that year. Another statement Ernest Green stated was, "It was like going to work every day." Melba Patello-Beals, in one of her interviews as well, didn't think the whites would treat them differently. People threw rocks at their window and threw acid in their eyes. They also threw lint paper in the bathroom stall. Actually, at first, they separated the Little Rock Nine and yelled, "You want an intersegregation? You got one." The person who helped the Little Rock Nine attend the all-white Central High School was Daisy Bates. Daisy Bates was actually an activist and a leader. She played a crucial role in the fight of segregation. Daisy Bates and her husband Lucius Christopher Bates were both active in the NAACP. Bates was the mentor for the Little Rock, and she became known as the principal spokesperson and leader for the movement to desegregate Central. She was recognized by Associated Press in 1957 as the Woman of the Year in Education, and she served on the national board of the NAACP.
Overall, Phobos was an active member of the Socialist Party. He became interested in politics and joined the Democratic Party. He used National Guardsmen to block the enrollment of 9 black African American students at Little Rock Nine. Phobos defied a federal court order in 1957 for the end of racial segregation in schools. Overall, Phobos is against the idea of racial integration.
The triumph of the Little Rock Nine was that now African American students can go to school without being escorted by police. Also, another part of the triumph is that they stayed together and kept going no matter what was happening outside of the school.
I remember those words, and I thought to myself, good, because I think the face of the South ought to change.
I will not force my people to integrate against their will.
The governor of the state, Orville Forbes, decided that he was going to use Central as his point of resistance. None of us of the 9 anticipated that the resistance would be as strong as it was. The night before we were to go to school, the governor called out the Arkansas National Guard, unbeknownst to us. And when we appeared at Central the first day, the National Guard was there to bar our entrance and let white students go into the school. What it was like, it was rejection that I had never experienced like that. It seemed to me that if they were going to all of this trouble to keep me out, there was something bigger than my simply going to class. Only when we got home from school that day did we realize what an ordeal, personal ordeal, Elizabeth had gone through, and that she certainly faced more of the mob directly. I always applaud the fact that she was able to keep both her composure and try to figure out how to get out of that. We started school on the 25th of September.
President Eisenhower sends 500 troops of the 101st Airborne Division of the United States Army.
It was a terrific feeling that President of the United States would send troops to escort us into school. I didn't know what was going to happen after that. It was like going to war every day. You had students who tried to use as much verbiage as they could to intimidate us. We had threats and comments that, we would be killed. For all of us, we decided that this was a year that we were going to support each other. We were going to try to do as well as we could in our academic work. Some were a lot smarter than me, but I also was determined that this year I was going to graduate from Central. The principal of the school told me at one point along the way that I didn't have to come to the ceremony. They would mail me my diploma. And I thought, listen, I didn't go through all this to pass up the ceremony. Maybe the world thought that after Little Rock, everything is going to be fixed. And one of the important pieces, I'm sure I don't need it to remind anyone, that the history of slavery in this country makes it very difficult to overcome a lot of issues on race. We're a long way from being perfect, but we certainly are not what we were when I started out. I believe that our participation at Central is one of those many steps that's gone to change this country for the better.
The group has been widely recognized for their significant role in the civil rights movement. In 1999, President Clinton awarded each member of the group the Congressional Gold Medal. The 9 also all received personal invitations to attend the inauguration of President Barack Obama in 2009. Several of the Little Rock 9 went on distinguished careers. Ernest Green served as Assistant Secretary of the Federal Department of Labor.